Guys, Jesse here from Matt Naps, and yeah, we're just gonna go over the stuff that happened this weekend and what's kind of the new news in MMA, more specifically the UFC. We'll talk a little bit about what's happening outside of the UFC, but for the most part, what's happened in MMA with the Reyes versus Erie card this weekend, and then the Sandhagen versus Dillashaw card that's coming up the week after this. So yeah, let's start with the fights. So starting from the bottom, a couple of decisions, and then interesting fight when we got to the women's strawweight division: Luliana Pinheiro versus Ronda Marcos. Yeah, so obviously the DQ. A lot of people comparing it to Aljamain Sterling and his kind of very floppy performance when he won the title from the illegal knee from Jan. I've watched it a couple times. It does look kind of suspect, but it's hard to tell. Somebody might have to break it down frame by frame, slow it down a lot in order to see better what actually happens. But the way she was kicked, it looks like if she was actually knocked out, she should have fallen forward, not flopped back like that. It really seemed overacted, and I don't really understand why she did it. It's not like she was losing the fight. Like, it was very different from Aljo, and Aljamain was getting his ass kicked, and then that was his way out while winning, and Luliana Pinheiro, she was winning and then had the illegal upkick. So, maybe the upkick would have changed the fight. Maybe she was actually pretty rocked and Ronda would have been able to rally and she knew that. But, yeah, it was all around weird. Pinheiro was winning the fight anyway. And, yeah, Marcos was losing. But I think they need to get rid of the DQ rule. At least DQ going to the other person. I think they should just do an automatic technical decision at that point with however many rounds it's been. So if it's one round, it goes to technical decision, and that's it. It's just that one round. And in that case, it would have been Pinheiro that won anyway. But in the case of Aljamain, he would have lost the title anyway. I think that would be a much better way to do it. What else? Oh, yeah, so then featherweight fight, co-main event, Giga fought Cub Swanson, amazing liver kick knockout, just beautiful. Yeah, not much else to say about that. Really impressive win for him. Obviously, Cub's a former title contender at 145 pounds. He's kind of getting older now. Kind of a veteran top contender, so that's a very impressive win. And then, yeah, the main event, Yuri versus Reyes. Just an absolute striking clinic by Yuri Prochazka. Just absolutely put a clinic on Reyes. Really just absolutely put a clinic on him. Was just completely relentless. Wouldn't give him any room. And then a beautiful spinning back elbow. Just clean right on the button. Dropped him right on his face. Walk off KO. Just great. Yeah. What else do we got? So then, coming up next week, we've got Sandhagen versus Dillashaw. Very interesting fight. Dillashaw obviously returning after he's been gone since, I think it's been 2 years now almost. 2-year suspension due to testing positive for recombinant human erythropoietin, which is EPO. Pretty sure everyone knows the more common name EPO. Most people will. There's also Michelle Waterson fighting Marina Rodriguez, which will be another interesting fight. Michelle Waterson being the former 105 world champion. Donald Cerrone versus Alex Morano at welterweight. And that's another interesting thing is Diego Sanchez got kicked out of the UFC because of his insane coach, Joshua Fabia. That dude is a right basket case. I don't know what they're going to do with him. Yeah, like Diego, I doubt anyone else is going to get Joshua as a coach, so I doubt the UFC will have to deal with him again, but it's really unfortunate for Diego. Obviously, the original Ultimate Fighter winner won the first season, the first weight class in the first season, went on to contend for the title. I think I don't know if he has the record, but he's one of the guys with the most fight of the nights in the history of the UFC. Obviously, I think he has 20 plus fights in the UFC. He's just been around forever. And, the UFC kept him around forever, even probably long after he deserved to be, just because he was always a fan favorite, and obviously Dana had a soft spot for him because of the Ultimate Fighter situation, and it's just really unfortunate to see him go, but that Fabia guy is just absolute fucking lunatic. Should probably be thrown into prison or something. I don't know if he's doing anything illegal, but it's cult-like behavior, to say the least. But yeah. Oh, apparently April 27th. Oh, right, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, Dillashaw had the headbutt. I've been really busy the last couple days. I completely forgot Dillashaw pulled off this card. That'll be interesting. Yeah, so they don't have a replacement yet. And, okay, so that Watterson versus Rodriguez is now expected to be the main event. But they didn't move it here. They have Cerrone versus Morano here. I'm not sure. It's weird they don't even have that. Yeah, they haven't announced, but they don't actually have it on the card. Interesting. I wonder what they have on UFC.com. Because on the Wikipedia page, at least, they have that as Cerrone versus... Yeah, upcoming to be determined versus to be determined. Yeah, so on the official UFC card, yeah, they don't even have Cerrone. But then on the Wikipedia page, they have Cerrone versus Morano, which I did see was announced earlier, so obviously the UFC page hasn't been updated. I'm guessing they're just going to have Cerrone versus Morano as the main event, because I'd imagine Cerrone's probably a bigger star than Michelle Watterson. I'm not 100% positive of that, but I would guess so. I know Cerrone at one point was one of the most followed fighters on Instagram. And Michelle Watterson has about 1.6 million followers. Donald Cerrone has 2.2 million. So yeah, Cerrone is slightly more famous. So yeah, I'd imagine they'd probably keep Cerrone as the main event on that card. Neil Magny versus Jeff Neal. That'll be another interesting fight. Jeff Neal's coming off his Stephen Thompson loss. What's Neil Magny's last fight? The Michael Chiesa loss. Okay, so yeah, they're both top 10 guys coming off losses, so whoever wins that'll be probably in a number one contender fight afterwards. Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Oh, he's one of the tough Brazil guys. He's coming off of a loss to Alexander Romanov. He's fighting Maurice Green, who's coming off a loss to Greg Hardy. Carlos Ferreira, he's another... Oh, he moved down a weight class. Interesting. Oh, Angela Hill's fighting Ben Rothwell. Is he back or is he just... Okay, yeah, he's just been active. Yeah, he only fought once last year. Or twice. Once at the start of the year and once at the beginning of the year. I feel like Ben Rothwell's been like buried on the bottom of cards lately. I just never see him near the top anymore. A couple of smaller fights on the bottom. It'll be an interesting card. Nothing too big. Cerrone fight's obviously really interesting. If they do end up getting that Watterson versus Rodriguez fight, that'd be really interesting. But yeah. Other than that, I guess the biggest news this week is just the Diego Sanchez thing. Which is still just absolutely ridiculous. Like that Fabio guy. You gotta watch, there's some videos online, some great videos of him. Like unintentionally hilarious videos. The dude runs, I think it's called the School of Self-Awareness, or the philosophy of self-awareness, or some stupid shit like that. And he's got to be the least self-aware person on the planet. Like, he's chasing around people with a knife in the gym, pretending it's gonna be good for hand-to-hand combat. And all they're doing is dodging a knife. He's fucking like, oh, just some of the ideas he has. He's an absolute fucking lunatic. Yeah, what else was he doing? Oh yeah, he was. They're asking. There's in this one interview, and the dude was dead serious too. Like, he's not even trolling, and he's like, they're asking about like his athletic accomplishments and like where he gets his experience from, and like it's a serious question. They're not even trying to troll him. Like, they're just seriously curious. And his honest answer was he was on the original Christchurch, New Zealand kindergarten rugby team. That's why he's an elite athlete, because he played rugby in kindergarten. And the dude is like 100% serious when he fucking says this. It's just brilliant. But yeah, that's about it. Got some fights this weekend. Some really good card coming up. Unfortunately, Dillashaw's off. Looks like Cerrone is going to be fighting Marino, which will be a really interesting fight. I imagine Cerrone probably win that fight. Oh, excuse me. Tired, it's really late, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, the Angela Hill fight, that'll be honestly, the top of this card is really good, and the bottom of the card, they've got the heavyweights capping it off, and then a bunch of guys you've never heard of. And honestly, when you get these guys that you've never heard of, that's usually the much better cards. Usually, for some reason, those guys have way less decisions. Last week's fights, there was a lot of decisions. I think, yeah, on the prelims, there was 5 out of 6 fights, and then on the main card was 3 out of 5 fights. So obviously the co-main and the main event were amazing, but the rest of the card was pretty lackluster at times. But yeah, that being said, see you guys tomorrow. Like, comment, subscribe.